Hello, everybody. So let's get into the resource scheduling side of things. I just want to point this part of it out. I won't be showing any of the intercompany resource scheduling, but D365 does have the ability to allow you to schedule resources across company. So if you're a multi-company instance of Dynamics and you have resources where you're borrowing from one company to work on projects in another, there is set up to allow that to happen. While I'm in one company, this functionality will allow me to view resources in other companies and allow them to work on projects in my company. I won't get into too much of that, but just know that that's out there. When it comes to resource management in the system, there are a number of things. First, you need resources, which are workers in the system. So as you set up workers and you fill out the project-related information on workers, resources are created in the system. And what you can do on these resources, you can define attributes on your resources, essentially assign them skills and other things that can be used essentially to staff projects. You can view basically the booking details on your resources in the system here, and you can also create them from your resources. So one of the list pages out here is this resource list, and I'll go through that here. So these are all the resources, essentially employees that are set up in the system that are able to interact with projects or set up as resources. The setup area here, which is familiar from the HR setup, you'll specify their period code, which will drive which timesheets they see. You can default a category, calendars, etc., onto that resource. But what you can also do is take a look at the competencies. So these are the same competencies and the skills, certificates, education, project experience that you'll find out on the worker record in HR. So this is all integrated between the project module and the human resources module. So these are the same skills. So I defined on my resource here accounting skill and an electrician skill. So the only accounting certified electrician that we have on staff here. So I've got a couple skills, and then based on what you specify and what you assign as skills, these become available when you're searching for resources in the system. So another item that you can see here, we'll get to roles. You can basically assign a default role to your worker. I'll get to the roles in a minute. And then you'll be able to see what the reservation details are for this particular resource. So what is this person scheduled to work on? So right now I'm partially available for only a very short time over the course of this week and next. So I've already got some reservation details out there. If I want to click on it, I can see what the reservation was. I was scheduled on project 228 for that day for 7.14 hours. So you can click on these guys and say, hey, what is he scheduled to do? I can cancel the reservations from here. You're going to find a number of different areas in the system where you can take a look at what the resource reservation is, which project it's on, what availability I have for resources. So this is just one of the screens where I can do that. And then I can also soft book and hard book resources or my resource to a project out here as well. A couple of the items that you'll see here is that there's some color coding as to how available your resource is for any particular period. And there's some text to say, hey, he's available and he's available for 8 hours. So it's basically looking at my calendar to say, I've got the standard calendar associated to me, so I'm available for 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, not available on the weekends. You'll see under the view settings here, you can change how this displays. So I can turn off the availability description, so it's just going to show me the number of hours I have available, or I can even turn those off as well and just take a look at the color coding. It's just, okay, he's available for those days. So if you want the extra descriptions, you can say that. At any point in time, you can expand the range that you're looking for, changing the dates on any particular resource. So you can do all that through the resource list. Secondarily, we have this resource availability form as well. So this is basically a list of all the resources, and then you can start to look for your resources, see who's available, and book them directly to projects from this form. So under the resource availability form here, I'll have a list of my resources, who's available, who's not available. When you select a resource, you can then book their remaining capacity. When you select how you want to book them, what will show up are going to be projects that have availability in their work breakdown structures for resources to be assigned. So it's a nice view to say, hey, I know Aaron's got some time here Let me figure out which project you can work on. Quick little view into that. Make that selection. You can also, from a booking perspective, you can specify how you want to book them. Do you book their remaining capacity, their full capacity? So basically take up when they have full hours available to them in a day, so take up their full capacity for a time. Or specify a percentage. I want to use Aaron 50% of the time on this project, so I can specify 50% when I book into my project, and it'll take up half of his time on my project. He'll have half of his time available to work elsewhere. And then I can specify specific hours that I want. So if I only need him for 20 hours, I can specify it. I just want you for 20 hours. And I can specify. I can make that selection at the time when I'm looking at this. So I can, at any point in time, take a look at, let's see if it'll. So you can search by name out here. You should also be able to search here by those skills, as I was mentioning previously. This little ellipse button here will get you to the characteristics form, and I can choose the accounting, and let's say, what do I have? Electrician on there. So anyone who's got the accounting or the electrician skills should now get populated in this list, and looks like it's sorting it alphabetically here, so I'm down here at the bottom of that list. But it'll limit the list based on the characteristics that you put into the filter. So the other thing I mentioned was the roles. So roles are another way to define skills in education and other characteristics that can also be used to assist in staffing projects. Out in the project management and accounting area, under resources, you're going to see setup roles. So you have the ability here to create new roles in the system. And for any particular role, you can configure the characteristics of that role. So I need a project manager that knows accounting, or a project manager that has a, let's say, project management skill here. You have other types of things here. So a certificate, I would like my project manager to have a PMP. So you can specify the different characteristics and what that role should have. And then we saw earlier when we were on the resource side of things, I can specify a default role for my resource. So I am assigned to that project manager role. So what that allows you to do in the system is, as we start to look at the work breakdown structure and adding resources to that work breakdown structure, you can actually add roles first to say, hey, I know I need a project manager. I don't know who I need yet, but let's at least put the role out there first, and then using that role and who's assigned to that role can help you staff the project in the future. So let's take a look at that. I'll first set up some roles on my project. So there's a couple of areas that we can use to specify roles and assigning workers. The first is the project record itself. So if I head out to my project and just open up my project form here, you're going to see a fast tab called Project Team and Scheduling. So I can start to add resources and roles to my project without actually assigning them within the work breakdown structure just yet. So I was added automatically because I am the project manager on this. So that's what it will do, is add anyone who's listed as one of these responsible fields. It'll add it as a team member to the project when it's created. But I can also add any particular role. So I can say, I know I need a project manager for this role. I don't know who it's going to be yet, so I'll leave the resource blank, and I'm just going to get a project manager role onto the project. And then I can add another person. I can specify a role, and I can specify a person to say, all right, Allison's going to come along for the ride here. So what I can do is build my team out here, and I can say, all right, based on the work breakdown structure, it's reading the start and end dates here for the roles, and say, okay, I've got these dates in my calendar. I don't have any booked hours, and I don't have any assigned hours as of yet. What the difference here is that I can book a resource onto my project and not have them assigned specifically to a task in the work breakdown structure. What that allows me to do is to say, I've got Allison out here on my project. I know I'm going to use her. I don't have the time to assign her to tasks just yet, but I can book her to the project Basically make sure that her availability is marked as she's unavailable for this particular period of time. And then I can, let's see, so I've got, let's look into, oops, sorry about that. Let me specify my resource hours here. So I can basically hard book her for, let's take her full capacity for this project. And now when I come back out here, you can see I've booked her for 120 hours on this project. Now she's not assigned because I don't have her assigned to a specific task in the work breakdown structure. But if I were to take a look at her resource availability, if I head back out to, let's see where she's at. There she is. So when I take a look at her, you can see that she's reserved for the week of the 16th and the 23rd, and she's got some reservations even through the 4th. And then she becomes available again after that. So even without actually assigning her within my work breakdown structure to specific tasks, I've got her at least booked onto my project so no one else can come along and take her. And then from this point in time, you can do any kind of booking that you would like against the resources and roles that you have out there. And then you can actually then go into the work breakdown structure and reserve the specific resources to the tasks that are already out there. So I will head into my work breakdown structure, and then I will start to specify the resources that I want to have out here. So I can specify multiple resources, and you can see I've got that project manager role to fill. So I can say, hey, this is going to be the project manager. I don't know who it is yet, but that's who it's going to be. And then when I fill that role, it's going to switch to the person. Say, I'm going to do the demo data, and then I can apply Allison to anything else here. So what you'll also notice is based on anyone that is in that resource and scheduling fast tab, they're showing up automatically in this list. If you don't see somebody, you have the ability here to launch that resource assignment form. So you can pop out to this resource assignment form. It'll be the list. It'll basically put who's on this project first to choose from, and then give you the rest of the resources. And you have the ability here to do some more searching for any particular resource that might have some skills or certificates or whatever it is that you're using to filter upon. So I chose something that people do not really use out here. So let's take a look at the project manager. There we go. Let's try this guy. So this should at least return some resources who have project management skills out there. So it looks like a lot of people do. So that's another way to search and find resources and staff your work breakdown structure directly from the work breakdown structure tasks themselves. So that's the quick overview on the scheduling aspects of the system. From a project management perspective, there's a couple of nice views that you have out here with regards to the tracking costs and effort as it comes through. So within the work breakdown structure, there's a button for tracking views out here. And what it does is it will give you two views. One is the cost tracking view, and the other is the effort tracking view. So those are pretty good ways to see what is going on with your particular project at any point in time. So for this project, I am going to go and post some transactions against it. So I have these 10 hours out here. I assigned it to that create PowerPoint. So I'll say okay there. I'll just post these transactions. And then I'll head back out to my work breakdown structure. Okay. And then I'll take a look at those tracking views. So I've got my work breakdown structure. It'll default to the cost tracking view. So what you'll see here is you can expand to all the levels. You can see that the actual costs have come in against my budgeted cost, see what's remaining, and it'll also give me percent complete based on the cost of the project. So it's a nice view to say, hey, based on the hours that I put into the work breakdown structure and what my standard cost price was for those project categories, it built up a budgeted cost. And as the actual costs are coming in, It will keep track of those by task in the work breakdown structure and give me a percent complete against that. And then when you click the effort tracking, it does the same thing except based on hours. So based on the effort that I put into the work breakdown structure, it will say, hey, here are the hours that are coming through any of the posted transactions. And then it'll also calculate the percent complete based on the hours in the work breakdown structure, your budget versus your actual, your forecast versus your actual hours. So two very nice views from a project management perspective to track at any point in time how actual transactions are coming in against the work breakdown structure and what the percent complete is might be against your